Oh, sorry.
Joseph. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. I think I've seen that some. Okay. So I took over from Chris. Okay. 5 minutes. No, he's off. He's off. Answer that. Public Works, Assistant County Manager. Now I'm going to watch your presentation first, make sure. So I just wanted to
Test. Oh, you want me to go over there? Yeah.
And you can see where you're going to stand.
Well, where do you want me to stand?
Right there.
Right here.
Yep.
Thank you. Wait.
Give me 1 second.
Testing.
Oh, that's right.
We got to put a sticker down here or something.
There's some tape in my box over there, actually, next to the wall, that open box.
Because otherwise I'm going to
Put your toes at that. There you go. And then.
Take this from you. And when you're ready, just flip on.
You're not in
Let's
it.
go green. Should be good. Okay.
How far up?
Normal. Yeah. I mean, you can
Judge it. Right?
Yeah. It just, as long as you project well, you'll be fine. You've got a speaking voice.
All right, tell me. Okay.
Shalair, you ready to go live? Not quite yet. Oh, you're live? Sure. Oh, okay, cool. Okay. That's fine. I guess I should. Well, yeah, I should do it. So we should like. You got me, sure.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Justin Hopkins. I'm the Public Involvement Specialist for the Nevada Department of Transportation, and I'd like to formally welcome everyone to the in-person public hearing for the SR 361 Realignment Project. Tonight, you're going to hear a brief presentation from our NDOT Project Manager, followed by a question and answer session. We do ask that you hold any questions or comments until the end. During the Q&A, you'll have one opportunity of up to 3 minutes to ask your questions or leave your comments for the public record. We have a countdown clock in the front of the room to help you keep time. We also have a, sorry,
Wait, oh, there's only one on it.
Yeah, should be fine. Here, I think I might need to change the batteries.
I think the battery's died in that one. We also have a recording device that Kathleen has over here, and she can take your public comments that will be recorded for the public record. We also have written public comment forms that you can write your comments and leave your questions for. You might have noticed we have a few cameras placed around the room tonight. That's because we're live streaming this meeting on the NDOT Facebook page. So this recording is going to be available to everyone following the meeting if you want to rewatch it or share it with anybody in the community. If you're watching online via our Facebook page, please feel free to use the chat feature to ask questions, and then we will answer those questions during the Q&A session. Once we start Q&A, I'll have a microphone over where that microphone stand is. And when we get to that point, I'll just ask you to come up, say your full name for the record, and then leave your question or comment. But for now, I'd like to get things started by handing it over to Project Manager Ryan Hornbeck.
Thank you, Justin. Hey, good evening, everyone. It's good to see you all here. Some familiar faces out here in Gabbs, Nevada. So we're here right now for the SR 361 Realignment NEPA, our public hearing. Here's kind of an agenda for our brief presentation this evening. I'm going to show you the study area, which is, and why we're doing this study, kind of some of the alternatives that we looked at, kind of some of the environmental stuff that we found out there and the cultural stuff that we found, and the biological stuff, and then kind of give you the next steps for the project and kind of a schedule of what we're doing. All right, so the study area really is, hold on a second, there we go. So we're down here in Gabbs, right? The airport's about right here, and then this is the existing road, the blue line. And the yellow line is the new alternative realignment that we developed with this study. There's a bigger overview, Gabbs right there. The blue line is the existing, kind of the yellow is where the new road will be going. All right, so we did a NEPA study, and some of you might not be familiar with the term NEPA, but it's really just the National Environmental Policy Act. It came into law in 1969, and basically what it boils down to is we want to look at a lot of things, and we want to make sure that we don't negatively impact the community or the environment when we do a new project. So we want to study stuff and make sure it's all fair, and we choose the best alternative. We also reach out to a lot of different public agencies, stakeholders, the community, get their feedback on the project, and see if they have any concerns with it. All right, so yeah, some of the things that NEPA considers is we don't want to block access. This is all rural, right? But like in a city, you wouldn't want to divide a neighborhood or something or block access. Air quality, sometimes in projects, widening projects, right? You build it, they come, so you get more cars, trucks. It could affect air quality. This is just a realignment. We don't expect any increased traffic or anything. Cultural resources, kind of look at, we would look to make sure we're not damaging any cultural resources or historic properties. Look at the geology, hazardous materials, look at the floodplains and stuff. We don't want to build something that's going to cause a lot of damage to existing flood areas or anything. Traffic noise, again, that traffic noise would be more for an urban area. Out here in the rural, traffic noise could increase if the traffic increases, right, with more trucks or more cars. Again, we don't anticipate any increased traffic with this project. Public parks and recreation areas, there aren't any out here, though there's a lot of public land, right? And we'll maintain access to that as best we can. Safety, at the earlier meetings that we had out here, it was brought up that there was a lot of safety concerns, primarily with the open range cattle, and at night, it's really dangerous a lot of people could hit a cow or something. So we are going to fence the new alignment in with barbed wire, and we are going to have some animal undercrossings as well, so the cattle can still get under the road instead of going over it. Visual resources, we'll just use the NDOT standard to try and make the road look nice and any improvements on it. Biological resources, threatened and endangered species. Again, we did study, there's golden eagles out here, there's raptors, there's mouse, the kangaroo mouse, and owls and stuff. So we did look at their habitat and are avoiding that. Maybe the battery on this, hold on a second. Yeah.
Closest to you. There you go.
Okay.
Okay, Ryan, I'll check the battery.
All right, so why is the project needed? I'm sure all of you have heard that the Navy is expanding their B-17 bombing range. So over here is the existing, in the gray, is the existing B-17, and then you can see in the blue, it's getting expanded quite a bit. And the bombing range expansion is going to swallow up the existing road right in here. So we're going to realign the road to the east, and we studied the yellow area to try and, because we don't know initially, right, where the road's going to go, so we kind of study a mile or two wide corridor to make sure that, see what's out there, right, and then we can align it to avoid any areas that we need to, or to make it the most efficient that we need to, try to find a happy medium. Anyways, that's why the project's needed, right? We don't want to have a road going through a bombing range, and we want to maintain connectivity, north-south with Gabbs and Fallon. So, yeah, so that's the project purpose, is to maintain the north-south highway connection through central Nevada and allow for the bombing range expansion. All right, so you might be asking yourself, why is NDOT involved? If this is all driven by the Navy's range expansion, why don't they just build the road? Well, the Navy is good at building ships, boats and stuff, right? And NDOT has to maintain the road, so we're going to build the road to our standards, and then we'll maintain it as well. So the Navy's paying for all of this, they're transferring money to the federal highways, and then they'll transfer it to us, and then we'll build it and maintain it. Yes, please. All right, so initially, we talked about the yellow corridor and how we would kind of study the mile or two wide area to see if, what biological and cultural resources or whatnot was in there. And we also, there's some mountain ranges and stuff right there, right? We don't want to put a road right through the middle of a mountain. That'd be ugly, not culturally sensitive, and expensive, right? So we put the topography, or the mapping surface of the corridor in there, and we started to look at different alignments. We started to look at areas that we had to avoid. We know that there's golden eagles kind of a little bit further east. So that was an area that we wanted to avoid. And then there's the Quartz Mountain Mine and some historic mine stuff. It's maybe not listed as historic officially, but it's pretty interesting stuff that we wanted to avoid. So anyways, with all of that, we looked at the surfaces and stuff, and we're able to use a software called Quantum, where you kind of put in some technical parameters, like how much does it cost to move a cubic yard of dirt if you're cutting or if you're filling, how much does asphalt cost, and it kind of lets you see what the cheapest alignment would be based on your avoidance areas and the existing terrain. All right, so we did all that, and this yellow line kind of represents what came out as the most efficient in terms of cost and and avoiding the areas that we needed to avoid, both culturally, historically, and biologically. And so it's going to be 13 miles. It'll be about a mile shorter than the existing route, so it'll save a little bit of time. And this route will the existing route will stay open while we're building the new route, so there will be no impact to the traveling public. And then once we build the new road, then we'll close the old one, and the Navy will fence it in the range. All right, so as we wrapped up the NEPA study, kind of mentioned this already, but there's really little to no impact to air quality, the community, cultural, geological, prime or unique farmland. Now the range is expanding, taking up some of the grazing area, but NDOT is maintaining access to as much of the grazing land as possible. I mentioned that the cows can go under the road now. Even once we fence it in, they'll be able to access both sides of the road because there'll be an animal undercrossing, and then it'll be safer, right? Also, there's no parks or anything out there, so there's no Section 4F requirements. And then the traffic noise is the same level of traffic, right? And then we didn't encounter any wetlands in the area. All right, I kind of talked about this a little bit, but in the NEPA we did find gold eagles, raptors, burrowing owls. We did it for multiple nesting seasons, so we really could understand where their habitat is and where they nest. And so we chose a corridor and an ultimate alignment that avoids these areas, including throughout the construction phase, right? Because they're also sensitive to noise. So when we build the road, we'll be far enough away from those nests that we don't have to mitigate further. And the project isn't expected to take substantial habitat, so there's still plenty of habitat for them. All right, also water resources. There are some pretty big floodplains out here, right? And I was speaking to one of the residents out here, and he mentioned that there could be some big floods, and we're aware of that, and we're sizing the culverts, the pipes underneath the road to be big enough to handle the floods, so that the new road doesn't, negatively impact the terrain in terms of water. Visual resources, kind of mentioned that too. NDOT will, design the road to our standards, and we even have, landscape standards, and we'll do the final design according to that as well. All right, land use. The road itself is 55 acres. The 13 miles that we're going to be building translates to about 13 acres, and that and then that also the right of way though is going to be 200 feet on either side of the center line of the road, just so that we can maintain it, right, and then we can maintain the shoulders and prevent erosion over time and whatnot. And also, kind of one of the things, there's an existing material pit in the range, kind of on 361. And a material pit is kind of like an area with rock and gravel that can be crushed to help build road or maintain roads. And so NDOT's losing that material pit to the range. So we're at the northern end of the alignment, we're going to be including a new material pit. So we'll use crushed rock from there to build this road and then further maintain it in the future. The new right-of-way, one thing I didn't mention is all of this is BLM land. There's no private land in this alignment. So we'll be getting the land, BLM will be transferring the land to NDOT, and then there'll be no land use change per se. Hazardous materials, none were identified. Though there is the potential for the state of Nevada can have naturally occurring asbestos in the rock out here. We don't think there is it, but the final tests haven't been done. But anyways, if there is, it's just we would need more water during construction to keep the dust down and make sure that it all stays on the ground, not into the air. All right, so NDOT determined the project would not substantially change the location or magnitude of future development within the study area. So we don't, expect higher truck traffic or new traffic. So it's the same. Really, right? This project is happening because of the range expansion, and we're kind of just improving the road with a newer, nicer road that's going to be a little bit shorter. So the commute will be a little bit shorter as well. It'll be safer with the fencing with the cattle fencing. So there's really no substantial impact there. All right, so you might be wondering where we are in the process. When does construction start? So we did a PEL study initially. This is the NEPA study right here. So we're finishing that up. And after this study is finalized, because there'll be a comment period, you guys can ask questions and comments, and we'll address those. And then we're going to start final design of the roadway and the alignment, all the earthwork, calcs and the pavement sections and materials, all the grades, the geometrics, all that fun engineering stuff. We'll be doing lots of drawings and stuff. So that's going to take about 18 months or so. And then we'll bid the project out, and then construction will be about 2 years, is what we think. All right, I'm going to hand it over to Justin for a second.
Okay, thank you, Ryan. Okay, so this is your opportunity to leave your questions and comments for the record. Once again, we just ask that you state your first and last name for the record. Please use the microphone, because even though we're in a small room, we do want to make sure that we pick things up for the record and for everybody that's listening online. Just say your first and last name before you ask your question. And then again, I've got a countdown timer here to keep us all to 3 minutes. Would anybody like to start us off?
Go ahead. I'm Brian Bill with the Yampa Tribe. As you guys can see, as you guys are driving in here, the roads are really corduroy, rough because of the high impacts of the semi trucks that come from these mines. And if you came from the south, you would notice that there's a lot more mines developing, and they transport the rock and the water and everything up and down these roads. So you almost have to build your road a little heavier for these semi trucks. I don't know if you're aware, but if you drove out this way a mile from town, it's really rough. And if you're driving a Harley Davidson or something, you would wreck. There's been wrecks on this road just because of those from the motorcycles, because they're so rough. But the impact these trucks have, there's going to be several more trucks in the future because of the mines. So those things, you might have to step up make it a little beefier or something, or make another lane just for the trucks, because it's scary to drive on, even with the little tiny car. I mean, it's terrible.
No, thank you. We appreciate your comment.
Anyone else?
Okay, if there's no other comments or questions, are there any questions or comments on our Facebook Live? Okay, great. Then I just want to remind everyone that all of the materials that you have here tonight are available in our virtual public meeting. So if you'd like to continue to look things over, utilize the comments sections on that, you can. You have until April 17th. The website is NDOTSR361.com. Again, you can also leave a voice comment or question with our recording device, or written comments or questions. All of that will be entered into the public record. The Facebook Live that we have here today will be available on Facebook, so if you want to share that with somebody or view it again, you're welcome to. Other than that, I thank everybody for coming out, and I would like to ask you to travel safely on your way home. And we will be here until 7:30.
One other thing. I'm Brian Gill with the Young Tribe. As you guys can see, when you guys are coming in here, all these the pull-off areas for these big trucks, they're all used for restroom areas. There's a lot of toilet paper, everything. Are you guys is it possible that you guys could build a rest area like halfway in between this?
I appreciate your comment, Bill. The One Nevada plan is can look into that, and we can also kind of address that too in our comment response.
Yeah, like a pull-off area or something.
Sure.
To help get them off the road, the trucks.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your comment, Bill.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks again, and travel safely. All right, thank you, everyone.
You're welcome. Do you mail these in? We'll have that one.